Hello, ladies and gentlemen, back with another one for you. This position is from round 17 of the Zurich 1953 Candidates Tournament. This game is between Gideon Stahlberg with the white pieces versus Russian Grandmaster Alexander Kotov with the black pieces. Now, in round 14, Kotov with the black pieces won a brilliant game against Yuri Arabak, one of the famous old Indian defense games in chess history. And in this tournament, Kotov played the old Indian defense with the black pieces several times with great results. He really, provided good PR for the old Indian defense. For those of you who do not know what the old Indian defense is, I just made a video on the old Indian, not on the old Indian, but featuring a game, the old Indian, between Laszlo Sabel and David Bronstein, who had the black pieces. But just to show you real quick, the old Indian looks like this. And basically what you're doing is you're placing the dark squared bishop on e7 rather than fianchettoing the bishop on g7 in your normal King's Indian. So this is the old Indian defense, and it has a reputation of being solid, if not a little passive. But it's definitely a sound opening, and I actually like to play this opening from time to time myself. So this, my friends, is known as the old Indian, and there's all type of possibilities in the middle game, and sometimes the game actually winds up turning into regular King's Indian, right? Because at some point during the game, the bishop might go back here, and then you fianchetto anyway. So it's rich in possibilities. All right. So Kotov definitely did a great job representing this defense in this particular tournament. So now I want to go back to this position that I had at the beginning of the game. And so after move 47, bishop takes e4 check from Stahlberg. Alexander Kotov moved his king to g5. And here I want to share with you some of David Bronstein's thoughts from his famous book on this tournament, Zurich 1953. And here's what he says about this particular position. He said, "Here's the rub. Despite the bishops of opposite color, white has a lost game. Let's see why. 1. Black's bishop is supported and stands very well at d4, while the same cannot be said of the bishop at e4. 2. Black's king is far more active than its white counterpart, and in fact assumes a leading role in the fight. 3. Nor are the pawns on f2 and g4 equivalent. Where the pawn on f2 is weak and needs protection, the pawn on g4 stands ready to assist its pieces in their assault on the pawn at f2. All of these advantages will lose their importance if white could just manage to get the rooks traded off. But he can't. The game's concluding phase is most instructive." So that was David Bronstein, his commentary and thoughts on this position. And what can I say? I couldn't have said it better, that if those rooks were gone, be a drawn game. Opposite color bishops are notorious for being drawish. But with just having the rooks on, you can see the struggle that white has. So with those thoughts in mind, let's continue the game. So right now it's white to move, which is Gideon Stahlberg, and he's trying to save the game. So he plays rook h1. Of course, he wants to go into a pure opposite colored bishop ending. Kotov plays rook e8, again under pinning the thought expressed earlier by Bronstein about the bishop not being supported. Right, it's just hanging there on e4, so therefore it must be protected. f3 by Stahlberg. b5 by Kotov. And now king f1. If c takes b5, then simply d5, exploiting the pin. Can you see that idea? This is why b5 was made. All right, I had to get the phone, but I'm back. So b5, we see the purpose behind that. All right, the decoy sacrifice. C takes b5 and then d5, exploiting the pin here. So Stahlberg just played king f1. B takes c4, B takes c4, and now just g3. Rook h7, rook b8, and now bishop b7. Of course, trying to keep the rook from penetrating. Bishop e5, king g2, king f4. So again, pressure. Rook f7 check, king e3. Now f4 here. It's hard to find better moves in this situation. Of course, rook h7 is possible. Maybe even king f1. But I think black is already winning here. So f4, bishop takes f4, and then rook e7, bishop e5, rook f7, and now just a5 from black. a4, king d4, and now bishop d5. Okay, and now rook b2. So now the rook finally penetrates and the game is over. So what happened is basically white was trying to create a scenario where, you know, black wouldn't be able to infiltrate the position here. That's why on this move earlier, when white played f4, I was suggesting maybe like a move like rook h7, because he still kind of maintains his general position where he's blocking the rook from entry. Of course, black has many moves. He can play a6, right, like a decoy type move, even a5 or something like that, but he still has to work for the victory. So f4, just sacrificing the pawn. Bishop takes f4 and just kind of buying time. It seems like this is what Stahlberg was doing here. Bishop e5, then he goes back, rook f7. Because after all, he's figuring, Stahlberg that is figuring, hey, I got a good blockade on this pawn. If the king tries to get close, I can check him. The bishop moves, I can keep checking. So that was the idea of jettisoning that pawn to open lines and create some checking opportunities. So there's a5, a4, and king d4. And as usual, what happens is, you know, that principle of creating more than one weakness on the board. You know, black was, you know, threatening to push this g pawn down the board and make a queen. So white has to utilize most of his resources in defending that. And hey, as long as there's only one threat to deal with, it's okay, right? One attack, one defense. But what happens when you only have one defense and then there's more than one attack? And that's what black does here. He just starts attacking something else So now you can see the C pawn and A pawn are just vulnerable. So how does white protect himself against the G pawn advance? And how does he also keep this black rook from penetrating the position? How does he maintain his control on the 7th rank? And how does he protect these pawns that are vulnerable at the same time? And the answer is he can't do everything at the same time, and therefore the position starts to fall apart. So after A4, King D4, Stahlberg protects the pawn, but now he has to allow the rook to infiltrate the position, and this is what happens. Rook B2 check, King F1, Rook A2. So again, there's another pawn being attacked. So notice how Kotov is attacking this pawn, the C pawn, and now the A4 pawn is attacked. So you can't stop everything. And after that move, Rook A2, Stahlberg resigned. So I just wanted to show you that position. It was a long game, like a 60-move game. And the last video I made was like almost an hour, so I didn't want to do that to you again. But I did want to share this, the end of this game with you. Very instructive ending. Because usually when you see opposite color bishops, you think draw right away. But man, when you add the rooks to it, in this particular case, in the the little subtleties, it makes all the difference. So in this case, keeping the rooks on, and just the general vulnerability of white in the position, having the weaker king. Basically, all of black pieces were a little better, right? The black bishop was protected, the white bishop wasn't. The black king was more advanced in the position, right? Ready to spring into action than the white king. The rook was better, right? Black's rook was better. So just having, the slightly better pieces, that's what tip the scales at the end of the day. So anyway, I hope you like that video. Please like and subscribe. Comment below. Also check the links below. I always try to put DVDs or books or something that you might be interested related to the topic today. So this is some middle game, right, or / endgame discussion. So I put some links below related to that. So enjoy them. Please support my channel. That's also in the link below. And I'll see you guys soon on the next video. Thanks for listening.